All right, so today I've got 5 new fragrances that I recently got here, and we're just going to be going over my sort of first impressions, initial thoughts of these fragrances. We'll have a full sort of detailed video coming later, but this is just going to be my initial thoughts, kind of unboxing the fragrances in front of the camera here. And the first one is Ressassi's Hawas Fire. So this is going to be one of their newest releases within the Hawas line. The next one is Lattafa's Mashrabya. We also have here Fragrance World's Man Elixir, as well as Fragrance World's Vanille Drama. All right, and then the last one was actually a fragrance that was sent to me for free from intenseoud.com. So definitely shouts out to Intense Oud. And this is Lattafa's Sehr from, this is definitely a huge box, man, for sure. So just to kind of go over what each one of these fragrances are inspired by. The Hawas Fire from Ressassi, this, as far as what I can tell, just from smelling it, it seems to be like a Imperial Valley interpretation from Gissa. So, I mean, I definitely am getting, the same sort of smell that I got from something like Ardal Zafran's Lewan, as well as, French Avenue's Sultan the Founder as well. So, just a really kind of fresh, leathery, slightly, I guess you could say, citrusy type of scent. This fragrance, man, I think if I would have known that that's what this fragrance was interpreting, I probably would have skipped this one. Just like if I would have known that Hawas Black was interpreting Hachivat, I probably would have skipped that one as well. I don't know, man. I'm kind of like, after Hawas Ice, it's kind of like I'm not really that excited about the Hawas line anymore. And even Hawas Ice was pretty similar to the original Hawas. So I'm not really sure what's going on with the Hawas line. Now, the Man Elixir, this is Fragrance World's interpretation of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Man Elixir. And as you can see, I mean, the bottle is very similar to that as well. This does seem to be a very, very accurate interpretation of Man Elixir. So far, I think I would have to say that this does seem to be a little bit more accurate to Man Elixir than what Lattafa's The Kingdom is. Definitely it does also seem to be kind of, I guess you could say, slightly higher quality, which, I mean, doesn't really surprise me, especially when it comes to Fragrance World. Fragrance World really, really does a good job, when it comes to their interpretations. And often, especially if there is a Lattafa or a Paris Corner version of an interpretation and Fragrance World also does one, normally the Fragrance World version, at least to me anyway, typically smells the best. All right, so this one is Man Elixir. All right, and then the other one that I have here is Fragrance World's Vanille Drama. So Vanille Drama, this is their take on what is it? Dior's, I believe it's called Vanille Diorama, I think is what the name of that fragrance is. So this fragrance, this was like a complete blind buy. I had never smelled the original Vanille Diorama, but I was interested in this one because I'm always interested in the Dior private line collection, scent profiles. Those fragrances, they do seem to be kind of hit or miss. Like some fragrances, I do enjoy a lot. And then others, it's kind of like, I can't really get with that one. I would say the Vanille Diorama scent profile is probably not going to be for me. Now, I do still need to get a sample of the original from Dior, But at least so far, what I'm getting from the Vanille Drama is this is a very, in my opinion, kind of mature, I would even say kind of like old lady, like sort of vanilla scent for the most part. That's the best way for me to kind of describe it. It just, I don't know. There's something about this fragrance that like, it's definitely, it's different from, any other sort of vanilla scent that I've smelled for sure. And I mean, it doesn't smell too bad, in the initial opening, but it's like once this fragrance starts to dry down, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of like diapers vanilla with like a citrus note in the background. Like, I mean, I know that sounds like hella weird, but that's the best way for me to kind of describe, like, at least the way that this comes off on my skin. This is definitely not one that I'll be like trying to keep for sure. Like, I think as soon as I get the review, or the side-by-side comparison done between this and Vanille Drama, I'll definitely be looking to sell this fragrance for sure, because it's just not for me. I do think that this does kind of come off, it does seem pretty unisex for the most part. Like, even though I said like old lady, like, I don't necessarily think that this comes off as like super feminine per se, but it's just not, to me anyway, it's not for me. That's the best way for me to kind of describe this one. It's a very, like I said, old, kind of mature smelling vanilla scent for the most part. So that one is Vanille Drama. And then the next one, I would say, was easily the one that like really blew me away out of all of these. My favorite one. So this one is Latafa Mashrabya. This one smells amazing. I really, really like this one. This basically, it smells like a really kind of spicy apple flavored like hookah. That's basically what you get from this one. This smells really, really good, man. It really does. Now, this is also a interpretation of another fragrance. This is interpreting by Kilian's Smoking Hot. I do have a sample of Smoking Hot coming, so I'll be doing like a side-by-side comparison between this and Smoking Hot. But I mean, just as a fragrance on its own, this is really, really, really good. The way that the apple shisha in the top note of this fragrance comes off, it's like this really sweet, but yet at the same time, kind of like smoky sort of apple, scent that you get from this fragrance. Like I said, it kind of smells like an apple hookah, or like if you were to maybe have somebody like vape like an apple flavored vape or something like that, and they blew like the smoke in your face. Like, this is what I could imagine this smelling like. Like, it really smells good to me, man. And it's not like overly smoky either. It's not overly smoky. It's not overly sweet. It's not overly spicy. Like, to me, this has like the perfect kind of balance and blend of, the sort of apple note that you get within this, or the apple shisha anyway. This also has, like, I believe cinnamon, tobacco, dates, some vanilla in this as well, I believe. It's just a really, really well balanced, really well blended fragrance. And I mean, I can't wait to see how this compares to the original from by Kilian. I would assume there's probably going to be some differences. Latafa probably did make some, purposeful kind of tweaks between this and the original by Kilian. But honestly, I think with, the by Kilian interpretations that I've recently smelled, even from other houses, it could be possible that I might end up liking this more than I actually do the original fragrance. So, I mean, this is really, really good, man. I would say this is definitely going to be like a winter and fall time scent. You could even say probably early spring as well when it's more cooler outside. I wouldn't necessarily reach for this though, like in the late spring or like the summertime, because it is definitely, to me anyway, too sweet to be worn when it's warmer outside. But definitely, man, in the cooler weather, this goes hard. It really does, man. So definitely, man, I would absolutely recommend taking a look at Lattafa's Mashrabya for sure. And then the last one that I have here, and this was the one that was actually, you know, sent to me from Intense Oud. If I can get this bottle back in here. There we go. So the last one that was sent to me from Intense Oud is Lattafa's Sehr. All right, so from what I've seen, this is basically, it's like a interpretation of Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex. I definitely will have to, you know, get my hands on a sample of that. I do have one coming in the mail. I believe it should be here by next week. And this is a huge box, man, with you know, really huge bottle as well. So I mean, they definitely have pretty nice presentation on this. And this bottle is really heavy. Really, I would say most of the weight comes from the top or the cap on this. So this just kind of comes off like that. This is not the most, I would say it's a very kind of cheaply made bottle though. When I initially got this, the little insert in here that kind of snaps on to the collar, the glue had completely come off. So, you know, when you would snap this on, you couldn't pick this back up by the cap. So I had to get some Gorilla Glue and put that in there. And then I see even just now when I just took this off, this part kind of moves, you can see. So definitely, yeah, not the most quality, you know, type of bottle that you can get, but it does look pretty nice. And like I said, this one is a interpretation of supposedly of Tom Ford's Vanilla Sex. So, you know, I'll have to do a comparison between the two. But what I will say is, you know, just as a fragrance on its own, this is also really good as well. I won't say that I like this better than like Urban Man or Mashrabya. I think this one would be probably like number 3 out of, you know, the 5 fragrances that I have here. But this is actually really good, man. So this is like a very, to me anyway, it's a very unisex type of vanilla scent. So it doesn't come off as like super feminine, but it also doesn't come off as like super masculine or aggressive either. It's a very unisex type of vanilla scent. Really heavy on like almond for sure. I almost kind of get the same type of almond that's in this is definitely reminding me of like the almond that's in something like Shagaf Oud, what is it? Shagaf Oud Tonka, I believe, from Swiss Arabian. I definitely get the same type of almond, you know, feel from this fragrance that I get from that fragrance easily. And it is definitely pretty prominent. Now also too, when I initially spray this on, this reminds me a lot of Absolute Aphrodisiac from Initio. Now definitely after the first few minutes or so, it does start to become completely different from Absolute Aphrodisiac for sure. But just in the initial opening, that's kind of what this reminds me of, is Absolute Aphrodisiac. Like I said, again, a really, really good, you know, unisex vanilla scent. I could easily see men and women wearing this fragrance easily. And This also has very good performance on it as well. It definitely pushes and projects really nicely for like the first hour and a half or so. And then just in terms of like the longevity, it does last a really good time. So like easily, I would say probably easily over 8 hours for sure, is what I was getting with this fragrance. So this one, like I said, I'll have a comparison video between this and Vanilla Sex. I'll have full videos of all of these. If I'm gonna rate these fragrances, in terms of which ones I like from, least to, or from most to least, I would say my favorite one was definitely the Mashrabya, easily. This one was definitely number one for sure. Number two, I would say, would be the Urban Man Elixir. This was, again, really, really close to, Le Mans Elixir. And then number three, I would go with the Sehr. Definitely. Like I said, this is a really, really nice vanilla scent. Definitely perfect for this time of the year. And I mean, I think this is a vanilla scent that, you can wear casually or dressed up. Doesn't really matter. Then I would say number four would be the Hawas Fire. So like the Imperial Valley sort of scent profile, I don't hate it. So this is absolutely a scent profile that I would wear for sure. And I've worn quite a bit of, both of these. You can see here the Sultan the Founder, and this is I believe like a 10 ml sample or possibly even more. I've gone through this one. And then as far as the Lawan, I'm like about halfway through this one. So, that's two interpretations of the same scent profile. I've worn this one for sure. It is definitely one of the more kind of like wearable leather scent profiles that I've, definitely smelled. I do like the fact that this has like a lot of freshness again from the, sort of citruses, pink pepper, that, sort of Divana note. And I don't really understand why, when you look for the notes on this fragrance, they don't seem to be correct. I mean, at least even on like the Rasasi website, they don't, from what I can see, they don't seem to be correct. Like I see top notes of like clary sage and has notes like marine notes, but there's no sort of like leather that I'm seeing in any of the note breakdowns for Rasasi Hawas Fire, even on the Rasasi website. And there's absolutely, a very prominent leather note in this fragrance, So not really sure what's going on with that one. This fragrance also, for whatever reason, leaked in transit. So the collar on this one has like the paint kind of chipping off, and there's also like some chipping down here on the actual glass itself. Definitely the first Hawas fragrance that I've gotten that's ever leaked like that. But yeah, man, overall, I would say that Hawas Fire is still a solid fragrance for sure. I don't necessarily know if I'm going to keep this one or not. I probably will. Because it's definitely, it's a more enjoyable fragrance, at least to me, than what the Hawas Black was. But in terms of this, sort of haul right here that we have, I would say this one is definitely my, or it's probably my fourth favorite fragrance. And then as far as the last one goes, the last one would definitely be the one that, like I said, I didn't enjoy at all, and I don't intend on keeping, and that is the Vanille Drama. So, like I said, I'm going to get the sample of the original from Dior, just kind of do a comparison video between that and the Vanille Drama. But in terms of me like wearing this fragrance or keeping it, that won't be happening, because like I said, this is just little bit too mature for me, and it's just not really my style at all. So definitely this one was a dud for me. All right. So that is kind of my initial thoughts on these fragrances. Like I said, I'll have full videos on all 5 of these fragrances, you know, kind of comparing them to the originals. As far as the Hawas Fire, I'll have to see if the availability of like the Gisa samples are you know, have come about, you know, as of recently. I know I've been trying to get a sample of Imperial Valley for like a while now, and I haven't been able to really find any, but I do think BanadierFragrance.com actually has some Gisa samples on their site. So I'll have to see if Salim actually has, you know, a sample of Imperial Valley for me to pick up. If so, I'll have to see what the pricing is like, but if so, I'll try to pick one up and, you know, compare that directly with the Hawas Fire. All right. So definitely let me know in the comments what you all think about these 5 fragrances. Do you all have any of these fragrances or all of them? If so, what do you all think about them? And I'll have links in the description to where you can actually pick these fragrances up. Also, if you're brand new to the channel, do me a favor, go ahead and subscribe. And again, that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see you on the next video.